Hey, what's up, everyone? Happy New Year, and welcome to the kickoff of the 2022 LCS season. And welcome to our new pre-show, affectionately dubbed as the LCS Waiting Room. That's right, we're joining you all in Twitch chat, YouTube chat, all the different chats in the LCS Waiting Room. As the league itself has gone through a bit of a restructure, a reformat this year, so too has our broadcast as well. And so this now 30-minute pre-show is more geared to having the four of us or whoever is on the show on that day jump in and join the conversation that's been naturally happening throughout the community with those of you at home. And so we're going to be polling from directly those sources, what you guys at home are talking about. We're going to be weighing in on a number of those conversations. Before we get into all that, it's LCS starting up again. You guys ready? Are you ready?
Yes.
Let's go. I'm pumped. We got a new set. We got a new casual feel. And look, let's dive into the conversations that have been happening at home. We're going to kick things off by taking a look at a tattoo. While we might be pumped for the LCS season, I'm not sure any of us are as pumped as that was easy. I'm so hyped for lock-in. I got into League during the lock-in tournament last year, and now I'm addicted with 100 Thieves tattoo. League is my life. So this guy got into the LCS just 1 year ago and already committed to 100 Thieves tattoo.
That's too much commitment.
I
have commitment issues.
I've been watching League.
Fast.
I've been watching League since season 2, and I might put a sticker on the back of my laptop or something.
Right. There are people out there, I know a lot of great people that just it's a mood thing, right? Like, I'm gonna get a new tattoo, and I don't give a damn what's gonna be, right? I'm gonna figure it out on the way over there. For me, what happens if 100 Thieves rebrand?
Or that guy
you know what? This is probably
in EU with the reckless tattoo who tweeted.
This is probably one of the safest, I would say, that you can get to your point, Raz. Nate Shot's not rebranding 100 Thieves as anything other than 100 Thieves. This org will persist.
So the thing that surprises me, I was just going to say, is that it's a league within getting into League through 100 Thieves for the past year. Because, if they were, a previous COD fan, I'd be like, oh, okay, makes sense.
100%. If you're a Nate Shot fan, just no matter
Should've
where
got
we
Nate
are.
Shot's face.
True.
No.
Definitely don't need that. Definitely don't need that. Don't need
Getting
that.
It does look good, at least.
It looks sick. It looks great. Props to you, Easy, man. You have more loyalty already than any of us.
Better tattoo than Nate Shot has right now with the whole
I actually have a lot of. I get dead teams tattooed on my back.
There it is.
I have Winter Fox back there.
Yeah.
A bunch of the old orgs.
We don't have an LCS cemetery.
No one wants to see it, though.
We have your back.
Mark's LCS back memorial. Anyway, enough out of that. Let's move on to a different topic. This one about lock-in itself. So there's big conversations around the way that the groups ultimately played out in terms of the draft and the strength of those teams. So got a couple fans here weighing in. First, Jason Harris saying pretty nice, and both of them seem to have the same level when it comes to the power level of the groups, let's say. Kylie and Chris, though, the two of them
going at it
in cahoots together, they say, you're joking, right? The left side, Def, has the better team. So Kylie and Chris are convinced that Group A is the stronger group. Where do you guys land on that?
Maybe in theory, but something we'll talk about more throughout the day is what's happened with the visa situations.
Yeah.
There's a lot of academy teams coming in on the left side for Group A. So I'm actually going to have to side with Jason.
Well done, Mark.
You know what? I'm going to go to the time frame. That tweet was made in December 15th.
Oh,
you know what? There
smart.
we go.
Res.
I agree.
Wow,
I agree with Kylie.
You're being too kind to the viewers. Then we should evaluate this here and now today.
We're gonna pretend that was a bad take 4 weeks ago. It's not very fair.
But 4 weeks ago, I think Kylie and Chris was right. And the fun thing about this whole segment about Waiting Room is that the people at home aren't safe. We're going to drag you out.
No one's name's getting covered up.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, we'll flame your ass. Emily, where do you stand on this whole conversation?
So initially, I would have said, yeah, Group A is way stronger. And I even said it in our own story meeting. I was like, oh, Group A, easy. But then with all the roster.
So do you jump back to the Jason line? You say, yeah, they feel pretty even, or do you think then B actually does feel a little tougher all of a sudden, or stronger?
I think B is outside of EG. I would say I'm very curious to see what the teams have coming out.
I think because of the changes, actually Group B is stronger. Because Evil Geniuses has predominantly the same players, same with Team Liquid, and for you're facing what you're going to be facing when you're in the LCS.
Yeah.
With Group B. So I think Group B is just literally stronger if we're talking about the roster.
And tournament favorites, I'd say there's 1 in Group A in 100 Thieves most likely, and 2 in Group B with EG and TL if you're trying to power rank who's actually got a shot of winning the entire lock-in tournament.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Well, Group A plays today, so we're only going to get our look at those teams today, and we'll follow that up, of course, with Group B. In case you're wondering about the current standings, everyone is tied for first. So that would that would
We're all
imply.
even.
Well, hold on now. That
Time for last.
hold on. That would imply that
Last half 50.
Jason's quite right. These two groups are very even.
Okay, nice.
You know what? So back on December 15th.
I appreciate
Jason,
how
Jason
you're-
understood.
Let's
Moving
keep
the
you to the
goalpost.
hosting responsibilities, all right? Keep those opinions in there. You just
keep those
direct-
opinions in there.
Yeah,
If
in
you're
your
in there.
mouth.
If you're a
Thanks,
FlyQuest
Mark.
or a Dignitas fan, take a screenshot immediately now that you're first.
Yeah.
As soon as you get
There we go. We did it.
All right, how about this one? We've got Boogie, the good Boogie, that is, with a take that says the new Team Liquid roster. How could you not be stoked about this? Can't wait for the return of King Bjergsen. I mean, obviously, Bjergsen returning to the LCS is such a massive story. Also jumping orgs in the process. Wondering what kind of form he's going to show. But in general, we shouldn't ignore the rest of the Team Liquid changes as well, right? With Whippo coming over now. Obviously, the loss of Alfari and shifting back to the top lane. Where do you guys stand on the Team Liquid roster?
Insane. Yeah. Broken. Because, like, I think a lot of people, rightfully so, will talk about the individual players. Bjergsen specifically, like 10-time All-Pro. His MVP list is huge. His trophy case is huge.
Yeah, he's stacked.
The accolades are there. And it's because of how insanely smart and talented of a player he is.
It just feels a little weird seeing
It
him
was-
don a TL jersey.
Does
Yeah.
it though?
You know? What?
It's like the
it's just-
Yankees, you know, like eventually everyone who's great is gonna end up in that jersey one day. So you
It
know,
was
it's kind of
okay.
like you know,
so
they got
weird
the wallet.
on
Fair
this
enough.
asset day because I talked to him and we were all like everyone was just whispering like, wow, it's so weird to see him in a TL jersey. What I was gonna say is I'm typically always excited to see super team rosters, but
Yes.
simultaneously super skeptical of them. One thing I know a lot of people say about these types of teams is like there are all these veteran players and they all have a very different idea of how to play the game. And I actually asked Bjergsen what he thought about that, and he was like, I disagree completely.
There it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's like, I don't, like, obviously they will still have to work on their communication and synergy, but he's like, I don't actually think that happens. I don't think everyone comes in with like, I want to play the game this way, and then it's kind of a power struggle within the team.
And I think it's something special about this team is that they care, I mean, naturally about alignment, right?
Yep.
Whippo coming in from Europe, of course, coming in
Yep.
from Fnatic. The circumstances that changed at that time put him in the jungle position. He took it, he ran with it, he went far as a jungler. And then now he's back in the top lane, and he recognizes, hey, I look towards my bot lane, much like Bjergsen coming onto the team and knowing that you have Core JJ in the bot side of the map, and that you have now Hansama. This team is insane. They also put cherry on top with Gyotto coming,
Yep.
coming in. So,
Yeah.
like, if they ever have a disagreement, that you have that coach coming in.
Real quick, is this first or fail for this roster?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Right?
Yeah.
Consider it a failure if
Yeah.
they don't.
You could maybe like get second, go to Worlds, and have like the best performance. But
Yes.
they are.
Yeah.
that
That's
team.
my way out.
That'd be the only way
Okay.
out.
Okay.
That's the way out. You're second or third during the regular.
But then you
like,
surpass international
Yeah.
performance
Yeah.
in past years. Okay, fair
and I'll
enough.
give it that.
Yeah, so obviously Bjergsen coming back is great news. We're all excited about it,
Yes.
but no flame to Boogie. But that's like the cold take, right? Like everyone kind of is like, yeah, of course, Bjergsen coming back is good. So normally at the start of the year, we're like, what's your hot takes for the year? But I actually like this direction of
Okay.
cold takes. I want to
Oh,
know
no.
for the people
According
here.
to people I know, I only have cold.
Exactly. So what is the coldest take? Because we want the most guaranteed everyone is in alignment. No one can disagree with your take. So what are the coldest takes of 2022? Who wants to go first?
Summit's gonna come in and be like insane. Off the-
Summit's a good top laner.
Yeah, you're good. There we go. There we go.
Well, yeah, to
Summit
be fair,
is
though,
a very
I was
good
gonna
top.
say,
We're gonna slide the very. in
Raz's
there.
take is technically colder.
Yeah,
that's
made it
true.
colder.
The metric, the
That's
the
true.
bar is
You
even
lowered- you
lower.
lowered
The
the
price
bar.
is right, baby.
Oh,
I wait for the
God.
answers and I come in.
No, you got to be
Damn it,
original.
Raz.
Damn. All right. Okay.
If you, I got one. If you need.
Yeah,
to
go,
start.
go, go.
Give
All
it another
right,
one.
my cold take is that 100 Thieves are the lock-in favorites.
Ah,
Oh,
okay.
yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
good
that
one.
makes
They're
sense.
returning members. They were the champions in summer.
Yep.
They can run their entire lineup. That's what they're going to be doing here. Like,
Yeah.
I think they are a shoo-in to put in there. And people might disagree, but like, they're the favorites. Everyone has to agree with that.
I
That's
agree.
the
I
second
think they're the
existence.
favorites. Yeah.
Absolute zero.
This is gonna be a tough one. I think Dignitas will need to. They need some time as a team in this league.
That's your
to find success. Yeah, I think that's my take. Whether you think it's cold or hot take, that's up to you.
I don't even understand. It cannot even be considered a take. Dignitas,
Most of the
needs
teams need
time.
You know what? You could argue that it is a warm take even because that sounds like there's some hope. He's giving them hope.
Right.
Ah, snap.
So you think they're going to turn into
He's
something?
going to turn
right?
around.
Ah, damn.
I don't know, man.
Okay, maybe I need to rethink this segment a little bit.
I don't know, man. I'm not really sure. Okay, next topic that we're jumping to. This is something that happened in the, well, actually, last year.
Yeah.
But given the LCS, unfortunately, wasn't able to respond to this because we were already off air. We were well into international competition. Crazy Asian.
What?
Raz is a little too good at twerking. For those of you who
Was
don't
there a
know,
reference?
you don't. Yeah, there is a reference.
There it is.
Yeah.
That's not how we open this up. No, stop.
You can take it full. You
We're
can't.
This is disgusting. This is a PG show.
This is not a PG show.
This is a PG
God.
show.
We crossed that line. Yeah. Okay. Here's what I want to know,
There we go.
Raz.
There you go.
Talk to me about the process of preparing for this, of
get
filming
outta here.
this. Did you do much practice?
No, okay.
For the
so
twerking,
I was
or-
actually okay. Since my time in Australia when I was in the LPL, the joke was I don't know how to twerk. Like I was awful at twerking.
Yeah.
I'd be bars trying to because why not?
Right. Yeah. Why
Why
not?
If someone
Might
challenges
as
you,
well.
have to try. And then after I was like, yeah, my pride was hurt. I don't know how to twerk, so I literally just worked at it.
Wait, I want to
like
know
any good skill.
who was in bars challenging you to twerk.
Oh no, that was just the straight up OS team. Spawn, I will definitely remember it. Rusty and the boys,
Oh,
like
boy.
so. If you get challenged, you take the challenge.
How many takes?
Oh, that was one.
One take
That was
wonder.
one take.
One
That
take
was
wonder.
one take.
Wow.
I mean,
oh
I gotta
my
say,
God, replaying it.
It's not going to stop until we move
Comparing-
on to the next topic.
Comparing this to the KDA music videos we made, this is a huge step up in dance performance.
So the beauty of I can't
From
believe
you to
we
him,
do this.
absolutely.
Well, I was
Let's go,
gonna
Raz.
put doing crumbs in there, all right? Don't try and duck out of it.
What do you mean? Crumbs and I put in so much more effort into those dances than you did, Mark.
You had more talent, less
Yeah,
effort.
I-
I
Wow.
left it all out there. I don't have much to
Crumbs
leave.
and I actually recruited Josh Kim to
help
teach
you.
us a
Oh,
little
yeah,
bit
I
of the
didn't do
dance.
anything.
Remember,
Yeah.
we did like a 20-minute practice session with
I
him
didn't do anything.
so we could
Wow.
maybe get it.
So the trick with this one, it's all in the back. Even if you have a flat ass, that's
All in
fine.
the back.
That's fine
All right.
if it's flat. But it's in the back. The back.
I don't understand. Could you
has to
show
stand out.
us? Could you help us understand a little bit?
Go,
Give us a
Raz.
little
Beat drop.
example. Oh! Back
In
it
and
up.
out.
Back
In
it
and
up.
out.
I like
Oh,
it.
okay. All right. So you get to see a little bit
All
of the
right,
back.
there it is. Well, this is undoubtedly the longest
Please
topic
take it off.
that we've
okay.
had in all
Please
of the
take it
LCS
off.
waiting room. We're gonna move
I'm
on. Yeah,
begging
we're gonna
you.
move on. We're gonna move on to the next
Okay.
thing. This one, we're bringing it back to League of Legends.
Thank God.
Thank God.
I
All
gotta
right,
talk about Raz's butt
Junkie
so long.
Streams. We're going to use Junkie Stream's tweet to kind of preface this one. To be honest, this new patch, 12.1, is good, but I think they're going to end up needing to address lethal tempo, the chem buff, soul,
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. I think it's not entirely healthy, and pro play especially will show it more fully. TP changes are huge for the game, though. Anything in there that you guys want to address specifically or broader patch?
I'll actually
notes?
specifically talk about Chemfog because in the newest patch, they didn't even put it in the patch notes that they added just like a Scryer's Bloom at second tier turret if it's Chem map.
Dude, that thing, it weirds me out seeing that on the map.
Yeah.
It feels so out of place.
The
It does.
bloom or the fog?
The Scryer's
Scryer's
Bloom
Bloom.
that's
Scryer's
like sitting
Bloom,
next to the
yeah.
in the lane because it's in the lane. I
Yeah.
think that's what it is. It's just like I'm like this isn't supposed to be here.
It's
Is this
like
a
when
bug?
Shelly follows you into the
Yeah,
lane.
I
Like,
was
you're a
like,
river
what?
monster.
Like,
Please.
what the heck?
So that's
Who put
one.
this here?
That's one change they've made it to make it easier for the winning team. But the entire point for Chem Tech is that it's supposed to be overpowered. Like Chem and Hex Tech, it's supposed to be stronger than the other dragons, especially the Soul. Fog does need changes because like you're gonna have games that are just like right now. I saw one game in LPL where it's like, okay, so they're putting control wards on Fog
Yeah.
so they can see entrance and exit in red side jungle, which is like, okay, that's a good change.
Mm-hmm.
Like good adaptation by team, but that ward's gone. Like,
Yeah.
That ward is just gonna be instantly gone. The whole point is just to see them clear it. So
Right.
that does need a little change.
I think the Chem Tech one has more controversy around it. Hex Gates, I kind of like actually. I was watching some LCK. getting ready for the season, there were a couple instances where I was like, this looks kind of cool.
Yeah. I'm waiting to see like a real big brain usage of them.
Well, so the play that I pulled actually, I thought was relatively interesting.
There you have it.
They were able to use the hex tech gate, to get around someone farming in the side lane, and because there wasn't proper vision control, the Syndra has no idea how quickly they could have got out back on the map and found this pickoff opportunity.
Nice.
I think there are some strategic options for it like this, where you can get around the map faster, potentially find flanks that you wouldn't be able to find normally. So in general, I like it.
I think, but in that example, they're the winning team, right? Like they're leading.
It is the winning team that's helping.
So that I think is one of the conversations that you start to think about is like, does ownership of the map make it an even more beneficial tool for the winning team?
So I hardline dislike things that mess with vision, because I think vision as a component of the game is so incredibly important, which is why I personally dislike Chemtextile. But in terms of both of these Drakes, we were talking about this just in the green room before, is like they heavily, again, because of vision that you get as the winning team, favor whoever is pushed up on the map. Yeah. Lethal Tempo as an 80 carry main.
Hey-o.
Keep it. Let's go.
80 carries need to help, you think?
Well, okay, so as an 80 carry, great. But what do we think about its usage in other roles, right?
No, I mean, it is overtuned.
Yeah, there's been conversations about like, oh man, when bruisers are taking lethal
Gwen, Aurelia,
running you down.
Oh, it's an 80. Oh, I didn't know. Too bad. It's mine now.
I mean, like 80 carries getting enough help. Also with the TP changes, no more dropping a ward behind you. The meta's changing to Enchanter, so they're buffing up the 80 carry. Yeah, 80 carries should be happy.
Okay, we haven't been happy in years, Mark. Come on.
You can take a small nerf.
I know you guys had a bit of that conversation as well on the dive, right? Whereas Ale was kind of talking about, well, all of you were talking about it, but that idea that like dropping a ward behind the, the pushing bot lane is kind of irrelevant now, because you're not going to get that TP behind them. So there's a lot more safety in taking those kind of aggressive pushing bot lanes and having ownership over the fact that it's like, maybe at worst, the mid and the jungle come, but we're not going to have those 5v5 parties in the bot lane at 10 minutes anymore.
Yeah, and I feel like the biggest change everyone's knows it is the change that happened after preseason TP changes, as we were talking about, right? And hearing it from the teams that were scrimming before the patch, it was like, oh, you're just like telling people, oh, once it's 14 minutes hit, oh, you can TP anywhere you want now.
Even beforehand, people saw it on PvE and they're like, it's coming.
Yeah, it's coming. Get prepared for it.
Man, the discipline that you'd have to have. Like when you are so ingrained as a pro player to like make that TP at 12 minutes when you see the fight and you're like, I can't do it because it won't be allowed. It won't be allowed when the match comes
easy
through.
Probably for some top laners. They're like, I'm on an island, baby! Help me! And they're like, not this time. I can't. The change is coming. I can play Graves and perma push now.
Oh my goodness, that's too funny. That's too funny. I mean, okay, so within all of this patch stuff, there's also the conversation. You and I talked a little bit about it on this week's This or That around champions, right? Vex, Akshan. We kind of sat on other sides, although we both think both champions will see the light of day in the LCS.
Already LEC seen both of them too.
Yeah. Exactly. So you were a little bit more convinced that Akshan has the higher probability of being seen first and sooner. And I was more on the Vex side. But what about for the two of you, Vex, Akshan?
If he was European, he'd be right. The first game we saw was an Akshan game over Vex. But you're North American.
So we still have a shot.
So we still have a chance. I would say Vex.
Yeah,
you would say Vex?
Yeah, I think Vex is the more consistent one just because, like, pretty easy wave clear through mid. The reset that it has on ulti and fights is super impactful. Really hard to dive against like a Vex comp because of the fear.
The fear, man. The fear gets me every time.
But can you revive your whole team and look like a hero as easily?
Not quite.
No,
not so much.
That's my only reason for why I picked Akshan was just like, there's someone who loves
that'll be one of the most stellar play, right? Like in Akshan 1v5s, like whole rest of his team dies, he cleans up 1v5, reses everyone, and they straight end the game or something like off of that. Would be such an epic play, to say the least. Well, that's gonna just about do it for the very first episode of the LCS Waiting Room. We still got about 10 minutes to go, but we're gonna dive into our actual show when we come back. We're prefacing that very first matchup here in the 2022 season of the LCS. Also, Raz, here's one more shot for you to show off the stuff.
Oh, man.
I'm happier with this than I was with the
All right,
look.
that's right. This is a good rollout.
Yeah.
This is a good rollout. Hey, we'll catch you back here in just a bit. welcome to the kickoff of the 2022 LCS season. We're going into 10 years of this. 10 years, a decade. It's phenomenal. I love it. But we kick it off as we did last year with a little lock-in tournament. Having that tournament format to kind of kick things off, I really like the change that was made last year and the excitement that it generates around the teams, that opportunity to see, for example, our defending champions in 100 Thieves get challenged in that kind of a tournament format before we dive into the regular season. It's a really great precursor. Quick reminder, today we're gonna get a look at Group A, but we'll refresh you rather on both of our groups. So Group A up on the screens real quickly. It's 100 Thieves, Cloud9, FlyQuest, Golden Guardians, TSM. A little bit in waiting room, we talked about how when the groups were announced, this may have been the one that you'd look at to feel like it was a little bit stronger. Yes. We are working with different kinds of roster moves, but quick refresh, Emily, your thoughts on this?
So yeah, I was really looking forward to seeing, like, for example, the 2 Chinese players coming over from the LPL for TSM, which is why people would have been rating this group really highly. As you're definitely looking at 100 Thieves defending champions, Cloud9 with their roster overhaul, and then we're still gonna get Fudge mid, which I'm actually so excited about.
I love it.
And then TSM with FlyQuest and Golden Guardians rounding it out, but we are going to have, you know, changes to the C9 lineup due to players not being able to get here, and then both Golden Guardians and TSM are running their academy lineup.
Sweet. Well, if we flip over to Group B, who we'll get our first look at tomorrow, Mark, I'm going to pull you in on that conversation. Of course, we've got the revamped Team Liquid sitting up there in the top spot. Evil Geniuses, we talked a little bit about. And then Immortals, Dignitas, and CLG to round it out.
Yeah, I mean, EGTL obviously are the ones that people have their eye on, but I think there are some other interesting situations here. CLG being one of these teams that, like, if you're interested in the future of NA, they're a great team to watch. A lot of young players on that one. Kind of a similar situation with Dignitas. And then Immortals trying to recapture some of that FlyQuest magic from 2 years ago with PoE and Wild Turtle back together.
That's why I think Immortals is the team, the dark horse, to kind of punch into a top 4 position in this league. Power of Evil, even though, like, based off of how his performance on TSM was, you know, dependent on the meta, but he's an incredible mid laner, especially in a weaker mid lane pool. This split, I think he's set up to succeed. And then and of course he's working with Xerxes, so that 2v2, that mid lane jungle duo is going to be strong, and I'm looking towards Revenge coming in with strong improvements this year.
All right, well, now before we dive into that first matchup and start getting some actual thoughts out there on paper, I want to know where you're all throwing your weight when it comes to this lock-in tournament. So we've literally seen no gameplay.
Okay.
We're going to take a look at some predictions. These are pre-tournament predictions, and we've got everybody on this lineup. So we've got our finals match. Oh, I like this. You guys declared who you think will actually make it to the finals and then who will win. Emily is going for 100 Thieves versus Evil Geniuses, with 100 Thieves defending their summer title. Raz, you agree, but Mark...
Wow, Jad is such a homer. He got TL winning?
He got TL winning.
Is he still on Steve's payroll?
You could ask
Receipts,
him.
Please.
He's back there somewhere in the green room watching this right now. All right.
Secret agent chat.
Is that really an unreasonable prediction with the players that they have?
It's not unreasonable at all.
No.
Yeah. I mean, okay. But all of you do think that 100 Thieves is going to take it. So you align with that idea that they're pre-tournament favorites and they will fulfill that favoritism.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it's their tournament to lose, right?
Okay.
It's the entire starting roster coming back that won LCS. It's also, in my opinion, a great meta for them, right? Like, if you're looking at bot lane 2v2s, they make like a few slight tweaks in terms of how they want to play. And I think this is a team tailor-made to succeed in this meta.
It does depend. I think what was still really good for them was full commitments early on in games on dives, like to get someday a part of the play, because he was primarily his strongest suit was team fighting. Now he's going to be challenged a little bit more to play you know, lanes a lot versus top laners that bettered him in the previous year.
I also think it's important, Mark, as you kind of mentioned earlier in LCS waiting room, well, there were questions around would someday Encloser actually be able to step out onto the stage. It is confirmed they will be a part of the starting lineup here for lock-in. I think that's going to play, you know, a big part in people's confidence in the squad.
Yeah, I mean, they're looking to get a dub right out the gate. Maybe, you know, we'll see Tenacity and Kenvi sub in for later games, but they're going with their strongest lineup in their first game.
Okay, well, yeah, exactly. First game of the day. Let's take a look at the schedule. It's TSM going up against that favorite squad in 100 Thieves. We're going to follow that up with Golden Guardians versus Cloud9, FlyQuest versus TSM, and then all the teams, you know, they start repeating, things like that. I guess that third game is TSM's second, but we'll get that round robin look kind of at everyone.
Yeah, I love this round robin. I mean, in general, you already know it. I'm a bracketeer, so when we get into the knockout stage, that's what I love. But being able, exactly. I'm a part-time bracketeer.
Yeah, what?
So,
full-time LCS analyst, part-time bracketeer.
Exactly. But for being able to see this and see the growth throughout a day, knowing that TSM will have this first game versus 100 Thieves and we'll see them in game 3, I enjoy because they'll be able to adapt on the draft. You know, getting very limited looks throughout the world, seeing what teams want to draft and how they want to prioritize, and then just you get to see that growth in a day. I like it.
Let's get into that first matchup. It's TSM, 100 Thieves. We'll start by looking at the rosters on the TSM side. This is one of the squads that will be sporting a different roster than their intended regular season roster here in Lock.
Yeah, if you haven't been following the offseason, TSM put a lot of effort into scouting LPL and LCK up-and-comers, and they ended up landing on Kato and Shenyi as two of those big people. They picked up Tactical as well to join Huni and Spica, returning from last year. But then there were a bunch of visa issues, as you might expect, and so they're running their entire Academy lineup today.
It's a good opportunity for the Academy players to be able to show what they've learned already. But of course, if you're able to take a win or be super competitive against LCS teams, that's a great look for the rest of the year.
And one thing I'll point out right away when looking at that roster of names there, right, is there's only one familiar name when it comes to the LCS for TSM on their Academy lock-in roster, and that's Viper up in the top lane.
Yes, it's great to see Viper back. You know, he was a rookie of the split when he first came into the LCS. We already remember those Riven moments, but then there was the drop-off, the changes in meta that really made it hard for him, and so he had to grow, get back into it, played in an amateur, won Proving Grounds, was in Academy, and so it's nice to see him back.
You talk about some changes kind of affecting him maybe in a negative way. That teleport change, he might be one of those players that really loves it.
Yeah,
you know?
he wants to play the 1v1.
Isolate me up there in the top lane, right? That is what we've always known and loved about him as a player, is that mechanical ability, that laning ability, that individual impact that he can have.
And it's the growth on the weaknesses that we were talking about. Like the work that he had put in amateur and academy, like he talked about not playing as many games in LCS, but then when you're put in through the ringer in amateur and academy, you're playing games like nearly every week. Every week, you're in a tournament structure. He's put in an insane amount of games, so like being in a pressure moment is what he found himself as weakness. The first time around in the LCS, that's not going to be a weakness this time around.
Well, just like we did with TSM, let's take a look at 100 Thieves roster, both their regular season roster and their lock-in roster. Something you might note is it looks very different than the TSM.
Wow.
Oh,
Look at all those changes.
Lucky them. They were able to get their whole team.
No visa issues here.
Yeah, so former champions, obviously, a pretty big favorite for this first game, as well as like we already talked about for the tournament. But I'm excited to see them come back and play again. We already talked about the bot lane. Closer as well as the summer finals MVP is someone who I want to see how he's going to carry on, because the meta in jungle hasn't changed up too much.
Yeah, I was going to say the meta in jungle is perfect for Closer right now, especially with not only with like the Lee Sin, the Viego obviously, but then Diana coming back into the meta. It's going to be really hard to ban against this team, I think, given how flexible Abadaga was, how strong the 2v2 is going to be coming out of that bot lane. And we pretty much can kind of make the assumption someday probably isn't going to be playing the 1v1 matchup like some of the other top laners were thinking of taking like super carry matchups. They'll probably be focusing a little bit more on bot side.
Yeah, and I mean like the fact that the Diana buff helping out Closer a little bit, that's beautiful. And also, your first team All-Pro FBI, right? Like, you're looking towards the bottom lane, and that's how you found your success, was based off of early game, mid 2v2, looking towards your bottom lane, and they won a championship based off that.
Yeah, and I mean, Huhi, we know, played a lot of engaged supports last split, but he's a mid laner. Like, he'll be fine changing up into the more Enchanter-focused meta, I believe, that we're seeing so far.
All right, well, a lot of thoughts. Now, where do you throw your weight? I have a feeling I know what the predictions are going to look like here, based on the graphic we showed earlier about the whole damn lock-in tournament. But who knows? Maybe one of you will throw me a curveball. Yeah! Lock it in. Yeah. There's new rules on the LCS. You say it on air, and it's done. Yeah.
There you go, right?
All right, so down the line, Emily, we'll start with you. Is it going to be 100 Thieves? It's going to be a TSM.
100 Thieves.
First game. Okay, there it is. 100 Thieves here.
100 Thieves.
100 Thieves here.
Hundo Thundo.
They are not in the league, so that's going to be, unfortunately, an incorrect prediction for you to kick
NA,
off
not
the year.
available answer.
We're going to have a 1-0, a 1-0, and an 0-1 to kick things off. All right, we're getting into game number 1 of the lock-in tournament. We're tossing it out to our casters to kick off the day, everybody. Enjoy.
Welcome, everybody, back to the LCS. It's 2022, and we are ready to kick things off here with Lock In. I'm Captain Flowers. That's Kobe. That's Azale. And the three of us are going to be bringing you these first 3 games, including TSM versus 100 Thieves to kick it off.
Man, it's really exciting. 10th year of LCS. It feels pretty crazy. Kobe,
We're getting old.
Yeah, we've been here for a while now.
Honestly, though, they're not old who are playing in this game. It's basically TSM Academy.
Zoomers.
Yeah.
TSM Academy throwing up here. I mean, honestly, they've got instinct. This guy, he's coming straight off of straight up amateur from the 100 Thieves next squad. So a lot of young talent gonna be on display versus the defending LCS champion.
That's rough
So,
for your lock-in debut here.
If you want to start the LCS on a high note for TSM and TSM Academy players here, they're going to be reaching for the stars, take a shot at the champions.
And I'm so interested to see what kind of a style 100 Thieves is going to be bringing out here in the new season with the TP changes. You know, I do think there's more of an ability to play dominant 2v2 style, play pushing lanes with enchanters, really try to siege towers and take over the game in that way. And we know how good their bottom lane is, so will that be the choice?
All right, let's see what we're banning out here. How are things going to be defined in the LCS meta? It's Lulu, Karma, Caitlyn, Twisted Fate, and Lee Sin all banned away. One more ban still to go here for the side of 100 Thieves before TSM gets that first pick. And our last ban, Jarvan.
I really think they should have banned LeBlanc here versus Takeover. LeBlanc is one of the most banned in both LPL as well as LCK. Extremely strong right now as far as so many AD junglers that you can pair with it. There's just AD junglers all over the place. Xin Zhao, Lee Sin, extremely powerful right now. And Takeover has had some of his best performances on this champion. So if you ban away the LeBlanc, then you know, looking at his history, you would force him a little bit more towards those melees.
Yeah, clearly we can see TSM trying to, you know, limit the options for the bottom lane there, but early Thresh pick, wouldn't be shocked to see it. It is one of those really aggressive supports, gives you a little bit of an engage option, but it's also a very strong 2v2 laner. Could be paired with like something like a Kalista, but it's going to be the Jinx instead. If you hit the hook, you can flay into the Chompers as well. You know, have that long CC chain. You do have the ability to push pretty heavily here, and the roams are going to be there for Huhi.
Plus, when you look across the aisle, you see the champion that in the previous year was paired a lot with Thresh and the Aphelios. Those immobile hyper carries love the protection of the Lantern. They love having Thresh there to be the bodyguard. But if we're talking about spooky champions, Viego, he's back and he's in the hands of Closer here in game number 1.
And last time we saw Closer playing Viego in the LCS, he was running things in playoffs. Had a 75% win rate across 8 games in playoffs on Viego. He was smashing kids.
Finals MVP.
Yep, not
for
bad.
Closer on Viego. Such a strong combination. And you do have multiple reset champions on this team now. So 100 Thieves indexing very heavily into these 5-on-5 situations. Get 1 kill, you get to run away with the game. You know, Jinx gets excited, Viego gets his reset. Could be very scary. So that also makes you think about denial tools for those kills.
Yeah.
Stopwatches are huge. Guardian Angel is a huge purchase, especially for stuff like Xin Zhao.
And I think the Syndra ban here is pretty smart. You know, that's a champion that can help get you that first kill, that has the upfront burst to secure that first kill, that skirmishes well with Viego. Because a lot of times when we see Closer having success on the Viego, it's actually fighting around scuttles, it's these early skirmishes, these close fights where he gets that reset just barely and then takes over.
Also, you know, one of the biggest detriments that you'd have when you have Aphelios is the lack of mobility, and since you don't have the Thresh, there's no reposition. Syndra is one of the hardest things for Aphelios to deal with. Long-range skill shot stuns, those can be a huge pain, so they're also protecting Instinct a little bit with this one. Aphelios much more would rather thrive in the, you know, short-range situation into stuff that's going to be more melee focused.
Well, our second half of the bans are done. It's Syndra and Vex banned away by TSM as Kennen and Jace are banned out by 100 Thieves. 100 Thieves now having to blind pick one of those 2 solo lanes. They will blind pick the Renekton, and the response could be a Vayne top maybe from
One
TSM.
of the biggest things I'm looking for TSM here has been the flex of Viper's champion pool. You know, this guy's played so many champions recently that I want to see him really fully utilize this counter pick. There's the LeBlanc I was talking about, though.
It's
and
locked
they do get the bait as well. So you get Takeover's LeBlanc. They didn't ban it away. as well as the Viper counter pick. You know, if we're trying to hype up the Academy players here coming in for TSM, this is the way to do it.
Absolutely. You got to go big. Take a swing. You're going at the defending champs here as an Academy roster. I like the Vayne top. You know, this is really feast or famine for the most part. Corki as the answer here to LeBlanc. Because, you know, I'm assuming he's going to play Cleanse. You pretty much have to, I do think. And if you are going to play that route, you can battle up against this Renekton in the 1v1. If Closer is coming in, that's where things get really tricky. If the Vayne starts to fall behind, these matchups become impossible. Renekton will just be jumping in on top of you, winning those fights. So Hyper is going to have to be playing up around that top lane with Viper, have to protect his top laner, allow him to play aggressive in the 1v1 so that he's not getting exploited by Closer.
Meanwhile, you know, you don't want to have all volatile lanes if you're sitting at this from the perspective of 100 Thieves. So they're going to need Abadage to try and avoid a lot of the pressure from the LeBlanc mid from Takeover so that the other lanes can get that attention and not have to deal with, Xin Zhao Vayne kind of popping off there up on the top side and trying to take over first Rift Herald control.
Right, and talking about that early control, man, Xin Zhao and LeBlanc, this is a duo of mid and jungle that if they do get ahead, if they are able to take that control nice and early, they can affect the entire map in a very scary way.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest scary point for 100 Thieves is their early mid jungle. You know, Corki not going to have nearly as many opportunities as LeBlanc for setting up those mid jungle opportunities, especially since Takeover has gone with the Ignite on the LeBlanc and they're going for a level 1 towards the top side.
Yeah, moving out straight to that top side. We'll see if they can find Someday. I mean, Yurson is going to have the hook. Someday might have to flash. I think he's going to have to flash here.
Okay, Someday. He gets pulled back in by the dredge line, rooted down. Goes for the slice. He tries to get away. He's rooted up. He's beaten down. And it's first blood of the 2022 LCS season.
Okay.
TSM Academy! First blood on the LCS champions! Who saw that one coming? Good play up on the top side, though. Again, you come back to some of these situations where you're setting up a lot of these younger players looking to take a game off of the LCS champs. Go for a level 1. Try and get an advantage started early on. And yes, because Someday does not flash the hook, which you have to do in that situation, you get to follow up with the chain.
Yeah.
So your flash later then just goes into the bucket. Now you're sitting in a situation where your top lane is Vayne Xin Zhao trying to punish a Renekton with no flash, started E. He's going to have 0 top lane control.
Yeah, Viper didn't have to use a summoner, right? Viper is actually playing Flash Ghost. He's not playing the Cleanse, so you have to be a little bit worried about that later on, because you can get Flash-empowered stun. Closer can come in as well. You can try to burst him down. But in that straight-up 1v1, it's going to be brutal. And Instinct now, starting with the extra longsword on that bottom side, is going to be really nice for that 2v2.
Exactly. You get to win both sides of the map with one early gameplay. First blood gold, that's great. That's something, you get it before minion spawn. Okay, you get an extra starting item for your Felios bottom side. But really, you don't even get to play on the other side of the map here with Vayne pushing in here. Viper, full authority over there. As you mentioned, double movement summoner spells, so can pressure extremely hard on the Renekton, push him in, and Closer doesn't even want to go up there. It is actually a death trap for him if he does.
I will say I'm surprised to see Instinct actually playing Fleet. That's so uncommon on Aphelios. Almost all the time, you are seeing like any of the other 3 options. Conqueror is very popular. Lethal Tempo is incredibly popular these days. Even PTA some. Pretty much no one plays Fleet. It does show that he's giving respect over to the laning prowess, I think, of FBI and Huhi, taking a bit more of a defensive rune, just trying to get through the laning phase, knowing that he's going to be in tough against these guys.
And I can respect that a lot. FBI and Huhi were a huge part of what made 100 Thieves a championship team, but now we got ourselves a bit of a dicey situation here around mid. Closer's able to find a lot of damage onto Hyper, who tries to get away over the wall there.
Oh, nice.
Wind becomes lightning, provides an escape route onto the chicken camp.
And a lot of credit also to Abadage chunking out Takeover so that Huhi can come pick up the pieces and get a kill for the 100 Thieves. I mean, Corki into LeBlanc early, especially since LeBlanc had Ignite. Abadage doing so much work there, winning the mid matchup, allowed Closer to take the 1v1 versus Hyper, and then they even get the extra gold credit there as Huhi off the support room cleans it up.
I mean, when you're playing Ignite into TP and you are the one behind early, it gets so bad. I mean, the base was not a good base there at all for Takeover. He didn't have much gold. Abadaga can fully reset it, go back with quite a bit of gold. He's going to have a decent buy here, and TP doesn't even have to be spent.
Yeah, we didn't have the camera over mid lane, but Abadaga has to have gotten a good Frost Bomb trade onto him, which should be rare, as LeBlanc being the aggressor, you know, with Distortion, shouldn't allow herself to get chunked so heavily like that.
Right.
Meanwhile, now you're living in this world where a huge level 1 for TSM Academy players did set them up for a lot of early success, but 100 Thieves have shown their resilience already, pushing back with a huge advantage now in mid lane out of that early skirmish.
Yep, absolutely.
Engage from Yurson here in bottom side. Counterattack with the death sentence, not going to find Instinct, so we don't get to see it go much further. But I love the fact we got 2 of these hook supports in bottom lane. Playmaking is always on the table, gentlemen.
And Abadaga is going to be sitting pretty here. You know, he is going for the early tier here, trying to get up to that Muramana. And he has that Null Magic Mantle already, which is going to make the kind of 100-0 type look a lot more difficult for Takeover on this LeBlanc. And if Corki kind of can get into your zone where you're just safely farming, you're not pressured, the scaling on this champion is so incredibly ridiculous now. Like, you are a late game monster.
Certainly are, and Abadaga giving as good as it gets here. Yeah, that's more how it should go, though, where Takeover doesn't get, you know, hit with the Frost Bomb afterwards, is able to back out from it, but the damage may have been done. Let's see how it actually determines the vision game for this mid lane, because what you want for the LeBlanc, you know, to your point about scaling for Corki, is to wrest that early control away with your kill pressure and get your vision blooming around the mid lane so you can actually make that play more offensively. He still has his Ignite, his flash is coming back up off of cooldown, and they've got support jungle moving into the river to get that vision we were talking about.
And we'll see if they can make any sort of plays off this, because I always feel that you kind of have to make, you know, that second push back on the Corki pre 8 minutes, because once he gets his package, that's like another free base basically where he can come back out on the map and kind of use that as a secondary reset alongside that teleport. And Abadaga is looking like he's in a pretty comfortable spot right now. You know, with all 3 biscuits, none having to have been used, he's not really being pressured that heavily just yet.
And as we are 6 minutes into the game state finds itself in an incredibly equal situation, my friends. We talked about that awesome level 1 for TSM, getting the money in the bottom lane, having the control in the top lane, but things are feeling all right. Viper now, he has that level 2 boots, the Berserker's Greaves versus nothing on Someday, so the Vayne will continue running things up there in that 1v1. Meanwhile, here on the bottom side, dead even farm despite the extra long sword at the start for Instinct, so it hasn't been any sort of an issue for FBI or Hoogie.
Yeah, and we have seen the kind of expected giant CS gap in top lane emerge. Hold on, this mid lane.
Abadaga with the flash away. He'll stay alive through the Ignite. So LeBlanc going to lose the extra kill pressure there, but she does get the flash into the Corki.
And it is going to be a very necessary flash, but it does also mean 100 Thieves moving up from their bottom lane push to that dragon. And again, FBI and Huhi, there's a reason, you know, they afford so much respect from so many other laners. You know, Azael alluded to the fleet footwork being taken there for the Aphelios, but they're still able to get the push on bottom side and get their timing coordinated there with Closer to pick up the dragon number 1.
And of course, that first dragon was the Kimtech Drake, so we will not be getting one of those new rifts here this game later on. Second one queued up there, you could see on the inside of the wall will be the Cloud, so 4.5 minutes away from that. Of course, Rift Herald going to spawn in about 30 seconds. We'll see if the jungler is going to play towards that one very aggressively or not. Right now, you can see Huhi again hovering near mid with both mid laners down to only a fraction of their health.
Yeah, and I am interested to see that Closer hasn't tried to make any kind of move up towards that top side. Potentially, they are just worried about that 2v2. Viper obviously indexing very heavily towards the move speed. He has the Ghost. He rushed tier 2 boots here with the Berserker Greaves. Someday grabs some Pabbies for himself. So it may just be put Someday on an island, hope he can survive as best as he can, and really just try to focus on playing through their bot lane, as 100 Thieves are known for, and stacking dragons.
Yeah, I actually love this idea from Viper, because if you're looking at the matchup, and even with Viego as the jungler, if you have the early upgrade on boost, plus you have Ghost and Flash, even with the flashes from Renekton and from Viego, you can have some pretty strong confidence to be able to outplay so many of these situations up on the top side of the map that there is the window. If both of them are able to flash, if Renekton does get the flash stun into Viego, being able to flash to follow up, cover the distance and get this done, then maybe you can get that kill on the Vayne, but it's very risky to go for with all the movement speed advantage that Viper does have, that if you miss, the punishment will be huge.
Oh, bottom side though. Bit of 2v2 action breaking out as Huhi gets away back underneath the turret. Both of his summoner spells now expended, half HP remaining. No ultis used except for that of Aphelios. Abadaga goes in with a package here in mid lane. That delivery's gonna take a chunk out of takeover, but otherwise everything is fine.
Pretty good value, though, out of the package. You know, use that to kind of secure their Rift Herald. You don't want to fight into Corki when he does have that available. That is straight up just like a Rumble ultimate on your W.
Yep.
So being able to use that, they grab that Rift Herald on the top side, now moving back towards that bottom side. Gonna pick up another Scuttle here. You know, still a lot of gold to be had, even though the experience has been nerfed from it. Junglers prioritizing them very highly.
Yeah, I mean, just the first Scuttle Crab with the 80% reduced experience. All the rest of them are great. I do want to shout out Instinct right now. You know, 17-year-old. He's coming straight from 100 Thieves next, straight from Academy, and highest gold in the game at the moment, set up on Ophelia. So pretty good position for him to be sitting in for this TSM squad, who, and gets the extra plate as well. Minions finishing the work here. Very good early game setup. And now, when you do have the mid game with LeBlanc, with Vayne, you want to really get some work done on these side lanes to try and get some spread to the map, because 100 Thieves have set up that reset sort of style that we were talking about earlier, and the hook lands!
So nicely done, and he flashes right into the flay to be thrown back into the chompers. FBI and Huhi are ready to go.
Huhi with the perfect hook there. Just out of sight, had the read on Instinct, and Instinct didn't get much distance with that flash, as you said, flayed right back into the Chompers. Nice lockdown. And they're going to get not only that kill, they're going to get multiple plates here. It's looking like probably 3 for FBI, all solo gold, because Huhi took the kill. He got out of there as soon as possible.
Sometimes it just takes that one ability hitting just right to really change the landscape. And down here in the bottom lane, 100 Thieves are good, but top side, Closer and Someday. Can they make this work on Viper? Flash into the stun! Flash into the follow-up stun. Viper looking to get away. He's flashed out. He tries to disengage, but the damage is enough. And 100 Thieves find number 3.
The double flashes! You have to use both flashes, and you have to get it. It was so close, even in that case, for him getting away, but he doesn't. So 100 Thieves make the punishment, and they want more.
Oh, that was terrible from Hyper. He walks up to both of them and just gets smashed.
And Clayton, it's 2 kills and a giant triple stacked minion wave. So 100 Thieves, the veterans, the LCS champs, make a giant play on the top side of the map. And man, the second kill just kind of going right over into their hands with all the minions dying up there too is icing on top of that cake.
Yeah, and Closer, I think, was still in the Vayne form. He was still in the Vayne ghost, so he got to condemn, I think, actually out of the Renekton stun onto the Xin there. But just like that, Someday probably has more gold now, I would expect, than Viper, because he gets a kill, he got the plates, yeah, he's 300 gold ahead, so much credit deserved by Someday. To start at level 1 against the Vayne top, die, lose your flash, and have to start E, and to now 12 minutes in, 1 gank comes from his jungler. He's up in gold, 100 Thieves, dropping Herald on bot side. That tower is gone, and they are all of a sudden cruising. This is going to be an over 4,000 gold lead.
Yeah, the massive amount of gold in their pockets now. 23,000 to 19,000 gold. The second Drake of the game is live as well, but only for a moment longer, despite the fact that TSM does have vision here. You'll see that Closer needs no help to take it. TSM has no way to interfere with this objective whatsoever. 100 Thieves have taken a game that was pretty close for a while and absolutely smashed it here in these last few minutes.
It certainly was exciting. It's about to get exciting in the top lane because you have 3 people rotating over. Looks like they're fishing around for a possible dive, but already with these resets for 100 Thieves, you have to be very careful as TSM. You're flirting with disaster. If you make one more big mistake like that, guess what? Gold bounties are going to pop up for you, and that's not actually a good thing. That means you are at a giant
What are you talking about? It means you can get more gold, Kobe.
We may have our first objective bounties of the LCS season popping up in this game. If 100 Thieves have anything to say about it.
I mean, 4,000 gold lead at 13 minutes is not a place I ever want to be in when I'm playing League of Legends, objective bounties or not, and things are rough here for TSM. Gale Force at least completed for your Aphelios, so they got one mythic item up and running. Across the table, though, Divine Sunderer on the Viego, Kraken Slayer there for the Jinx, Corki building towards that evolution of the Muramana. This 100 Thieves roster is getting scarier, and they're getting scarier more quickly.
Absolutely, and bad goes to worse when you realize the kind of composition that they're running. You know, Jinx and Corki being that far ahead is really, really threatening. They got both the early dragons, so they can force you to actually come and fight them at these souls, and Mountain Soul is going to be difficult for TSM's comp to actually deal with. You know, they're pretty burst reliant on getting that poke, that first kill with LeBlanc, and the Mountain Soul shield is going to be really helpful.
Ooh, he tries to go for a hook up here on the top side now with the flash into the play. They're still looking to make the play. They want to get Closer out. He's only got 200 HP remaining. Super Mega Death Rocket not going to find a good target here. Abadaga has teleported into the fight, has the package ready to go. Instinct. All right, they're fine, they're fine. No delivery, no delivery.
The power of the package. You can ward off an entire team because you know you've got the free out. You can just package away, get super aggressive. If any sort of rebuttal starts to emerge, you're able to get out of there. So he zones them enough for FBI to finish up that turret. And guess what? Your Jinx getting this fed in a team that wants to group on the side of 100 Thieves, wants to get these team fights, has the dragon lead, so they've got the objective to pull you into those 5-on-5 situations as well, is a perfect scenario for them. So 100 Thieves can easily just keep up focusing on those objectives. They've taken the two outer towers on both sides, so they get the earlier push and then collapse into neutrals. You know, Rift Herald number 2 isn't the biggest advantage just in itself, but you do want to remove it from the map when your other team has objective bounties, because it's afforded the extra 500 value of bounties. So sometimes if the other team can get a trade and pick that one up, that is a lot of gold into their pocket. So you want to remove that from the map. Then you're able to transition in time. 2 minutes, plenty of time to set up your vision for Dragon number 3 in your soul point.
And it's also going to be perfect, you know, for that Dragon. You have the Herald here. You can go mid, drop it, very likely knock down the last outer here, and force TSM to actually respond to that, so you can grab a free Dragon for yourself for that third Dragon. One of the things that always becomes a little bit weird when you are playing from ahead, you know, they're massively ahead, so they really are fully in control, is that you don't want to give anyone too much alone time in a side lane, because if someone like Viper can push up to that tower, knock down a turret, get the objective bounties, that additional gold that's injected into the team can give them perhaps some avenue back in.
Yeah, I think that is for sure the goal for TSM. If you're looking at from their perspective right now, they've got Vayne and they've got LeBlanc. Double summoner spell, double movement summoner spell Vayne at that. So they want to try and push as much as they can on the side lanes, try and get an outer turret gold bounty, which are the smallest ones, but there's still something for you. Plus, you're not, you know, really set up to straight up fist fight 100 Thieves. You need a surprise burst fight or an outplay in the side lane to actually get back into this game. So now's the time when, you know, Viper and Takeover got to take some risks, and he's doing just that. I like to see it. Push it as much as you can, get your health advantages, see if you can push out a little bit. Their vision right now is trying to push at least back into the river area to allow for some of that side lane play.
And you can see with the Dragon spawning in about 30 seconds, 100 Thieves have gone back. Everyone's making their purchases. Abadaga critically needs 15 more mana charges in order to get the evolution of the Manamune into the Muramana. That's going to be huge in terms of his damage output in an upcoming fight. You know they want to grab that. Hurricane completed on FBI means lots of AoE damage potential here. Someday going for the 1v1 against Viper. Viper popping the Ghost, tries to condemn his opponent away. Someday will be taken low. As long as Viper has that final hour and that Ghost, he's in control, but unfortunately for him, League of Legends is a team game. Closer's coming right on in there, misses the stun, and it don't even matter. Closer's got the kill.
Yeah, your goal that for TSM is to isolate, to get a 1v1 possible outplay potential, but if you don't make it quick, the collapse comes. 100 Thieves have full priority here because they've got the extra prowess from their 5 in mid lane, so everybody coming down to protect Someday. He gets out with basically a 50-50 on the duel, and so basically collapse inside and pick up the Dragon number 3 soul point without any sort of fight. Looks like it's all going according to plan here for the 100 Thieves. And as you already mentioned, Flowers, with the Hurricane, like the team fighting 400 Thieves is undeniable here with Jinx with the Hurricane. You have no other options than to try and go for those side lane or isolated sneaky LeBlanc burst plays from the side of TSM.
Yeah, you know, honestly, I'd like to see Takeover maybe hovering Viper, play in that side lane, see if you can get somebody to opt into a fight and try to, you know, get a 2v1 play, get a kill, use that to go towards an objective bounty, take down additional tower, something like that. Because if you play this game slow and steady, there's no chance of winning from this game state for TSM. 100 Thieves are going to play for the next dragon. You have to make something happen prior to that. And Abadaga has the lost chapter here, very likely going towards Ludens, which is, you know, really popular poke style build. You go for the Muramana into the Ludens. Crown can be an okay defensive option, but I think the poke is going to serve them well here.
Yeah, I agree in situations where you're playing a team comp that is basically all squishies. When your Rockets can deal 40% of someone's life with a big one hitting somebody from a screen away, then I'm down with the Ludens build. I definitely don't think everyone should just be kind of mindlessly going for it because, yeah, it does feel good to shoot off big rockets.
Shield Bow's more consistent, I think, you know, but Ludens is really, really popular. Most people, I think, are going it these days, and, you know, I think in this comp, I think it makes sense. He's got a you know, 3 melee squad in front of him and should be protected pretty well.
I can appreciate most builds and adaptations in League of Legends as long as you aren't just putting the cookie cutter into every single game and approaching it every single time the same way. 100 Thieves are approaching this one nicely, and we're approaching about the halfway point towards that next dragon. Just a little bit over 3 minutes until what would be the Mountain Soul for 100 Thieves spawns. TSM are forced out of their own bottom side jungle. You can see the vision here. All vision from both sides being placed down in TSM's jungle. TSM trying to ward defensively, 100 Thieves clearing it out. TSM is struggling to have any sort of a hold on somebody.
You knew what I was laughing about. Somebody's like, you have a red buff. You don't need a refresh on this sucker. Gimme.
I want to have some fun too. I laned against a Vayne for 20 minutes.
Time for fun?
Oh. Flash out of Huhi there, so at least no playmaking out of that one, but he drags the Vayne right into the chompers.
Oh.
Viper, you can't get caught like that, buddy. 100 Thieves gets it for free.
Yeah, that's rough. Viper trying to get something there. He saw Huhi flash back, and that kind of gave him the confidence, but Huhi still had the hook available. Connects right into the chompers. You're locked down, you're going down, and there's another one.
Oh, they got the hook. Follow-up coming in from Someday at FBI. They found the first kill. Hyper has the ability to stay alive through the ulti there. Crescent Guard gets him away, but 100 Thieves have now found a tier 2 turret and 2 kills for nothing.
And Jinx is mad. Just listen to these autos from FBI. This bottom turret is going to get annihilated, and you have to back away from them a lot earlier than other objectives. Looks like they actually get the respawn and Takeover comes out, but FBI can have the confidence to play fairly aggressively with the rocket range there, knowing that Huhi's got his back with the lantern. Even Closer here dodges out on the chain initially.
Oh!
And it's LeBlanc.
Yep.
Now you see me, now you don't.
He jumped out of the way. I don't know if that would have killed him if it would have hit him. I'm not quite sure.
Would have been close.
It definitely, I think it would have. You don't want to test those.
Right.
We don't want to get into the scientific experiments, life and death situation, because if you get your R off, then even if that doesn't 100% kill you, he's got the auto to follow back up. So definitely trying to push it to the edge, though, is what TSM have to do at this point, as we've kind of stated a bunch of times, to try and get that comeback mechanic working. There are still all towers standing for them to try and push on somewhere, but 100 Thieves just have such a massive advantage that even that is a daunting task. Twerking recalling right now. Couldn't hear if he quite had a package ready. Just completes Ludens.
He did get packaged. You can see how fast he's moving on the map now. IE just completed, Sterix just completed, Ludens just completed. I think it's just too far gone now. This game is completely out of reach. It's hard to imagine a way in which TSM could come back at this point.
Here we go.
Well, they try to go for it there with the Flash Nautilus hook, but they don't land any valuable targets. Instinct just loses a massive chunk of HP to the Rockets. Super Mega Death Rocket, not going to find much more success afterwards, but 100 Thieves, they've got control over the middle of the map. They have control over the path to the Drake Pit, and they're the ones who get Mountain Soul here in 5 seconds.
They certainly do. And as the package is about to time out, Abadar can't even like draw a line in the sand. TSM though, they know they can't fight, so they're trying to trade if they can. Flirting around Baron. Dragon's finished up too quickly though, so they get a little bit of vision and have to recall to defend the base. Here come the Mountain Soul empowered 100 Thieves.
I don't think there's a lot of this game left to play, my friend.
Sir.
It's looking like we're just about towards the finish line here. 100 Thieves, they will crack open that middle lane first. Tier 3 turret is down. Remember the bottom lane Tier 3 also in dire straits. Aphelios ulti finds the target onto 3. Root lands onto all 3 of them now, but there's no follow-up. They cannot get in range of these powerful enemy marksmen. Closers on a killing spree. 100 Thieves are just running over this TSM squad.
I mean, there was the level 1 kill. Besides that, it's been a perfect game for 100 Thieves. They haven't given up a tower, they haven't given up an objective, and they haven't given up a kill since that level 1 5-man top onto Someday.
So what you're saying is, work on your level 100 Thieves. No more slacking, okay? You're LCS champs, but we need to see perfect.
All I'm saying is we threw up a tweet from a guy who was a fan of TSM saying can't wait to see the perfect game. Well, it almost happened, but the wrong way. So unfortunately for him and the other TSM fans, things are looking a little dicey here, my friends. Take over. Oh, I think he got took over. 100 Thieves. They find number 9. Hyper with the flash over the wall just to get away. It's a 12,500 gold lead.
Yeah.
It's
That's a paddling.
yeah, that's
Get him,
one
Viper!
way to put it. Viper's going in. He's looking for the solo kill onto FBI. Knock, knock, my friend. Knock,
That is
knock.
Mountain Soul in action right there. Live with about 50 health. Just barely not able to kill off FBI. Respect the attempt. 100 Thieves pushing on all sides.
And here we go, this top lane push, looking for our next inhibitor turret. They got that cannon minion there. He's got to wait for his little buddies to get in front and tank those turret shots. And goodbye, Tier 3 turret topside. Funny enough, that one bottom lane that had 20% HP left on it will be the last inhibitor turret to fall if it even needs to. 100 Thieves has everybody but FBI here in the enemy base. One more cannon shot on to take down that inhib there in top lane. Still plenty of time with both of these inhibitors down. The whole map belongs to the Thieves. Closer's gonna go down here, immediately get rid of this wave spawning on the TSM side, so they're ready to bring everybody down to the Tier 3 here. This should be TSM's last stand.
All right, let's see what it looks like. Collapse comes down from Sunday, closing in. Guess what? The tower's gonna explode and FBI will get excited.
The Instinct has to pop the heal immediately just to try to get away. Your son's already dead. Flash into the flay. He's ready to go. Hyper trying to survive in the middle of everybody, but a double kill over to FBI, immediately finding Viper only take over left. And he's gone with the rocket. 100 Thieves. There's a reason the prediction graph looked like a 100 Thieves advertisement. They're ready to go here in game number 1.
Can't ask for much more than that from 100 Thieves. Damn near perfection, kicking off the lock-in tourney here and showing why they are the LCS champions.
Didn't even have to sit down for that one.
No, they're already out of their chairs. No
Job
word.
done and we're out of here.
Yep.
Honestly, though, this is kind of what you expect when you're coming into this big matchup. 100 Thieves defending LCS champions. TSM with the entire Academy roster going forward. We did get to see cool level 1, strategy got an advantage. Even we're able to use that as far as Viper trying to extend the CS lead in the top side of the map. But you could tell even as early as the mid lane skirmish that happened, where Abadage wins the kind of 1v1 health advantage over LeBlanc in the mid lane while Closer goes for the invade. That's where it starts to get the momentum for 100 Thieves, and they kept their eyes on the objectives as well. Stayed true to their team comp.
Yeah, I mean, I think Someday deserves a lot of credit. That is a tough lane that he may look pretty comfortable, with the start that he had, being down flash, having to start E, against both summoners available on this vein in the 1v1. He wasn't getting any help for, the first game came at 15 minutes. I think he held on really, really well, and 100 Thieves as a whole looked great.
Absolutely, and we'll hear from 100 Thieves in just a few minutes. But while they get set up to chat, we're joining the State Farm analyst desk to break down the game.
Thank you very much, Captain Flowers. What a way to kick off the season. We expected the 100 Thieves victory, but I'm not sure any of us expected a near-perfect game victory in Game 1 of the season. The only advantage handed over was that first blood that TSM was able to pick up.
Someday ran it. No. Not his
level 1
fault.
strat. Great level 1 strat overall from TSM's Academy team, right? They wanted to start the game off right. Not only did they came in with a smart enough draft to put it onto Viper on a Vayne, and then they tried that level 1, and I thought it worked great at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I think this was a really actually awesome call from TSM. I'm kind of surprised to see the LeBlanc get through. I'm similarly surprised to see the Renekton get through, especially for a team like 100 Thieves. Not only is it just a high priority pick right now, but also Someday is very well known for being on that Renekton.
Yeah.
But the Vayne top, we said Viper wanted to play the 1v1, and they went for it. And I actually really like this.
Yeah, I think that's why the Renekton got through, is because you can kind of predict Someday's going to go
true.
for it. But it is still some of the highest priority champions that we've seen globally kind of getting through. In terms of like permabans, if you haven't been watching the regions, you're looking at, you know, LeBlanc, TF, Caitlyn, and often Renekton is included in that. So like you said, it's a little surprising some of this get through, but I don't think anyone's solved the meta yet.
And I'm sure the coaching staff for 100 Thieves have put in the work, right? Because Viper in Amateur and Academy, he's an 80 carry top player. He's playing Vayne, he's playing Lucian, like he's playing Tristana tops. Like he's the type of person who want to be taking the fullest of a matchup like this. So he got what he wanted, but the game did not work out well, especially 2 minutes in when we were just getting smacked in the mid jungle. Then you just don't get help from the dives that you want.
Yeah, I agree. That's my takeaway on the TSM side, is they're sticking to the identities of the players that they are putting out onto the Rift. And of course, it's not necessarily going to net you a victory against the defending champions in 100 Thieves, who are sporting their whole roster. Looks like they didn't skip a beat. I mean, you've got Closer on Comfort in Viego, as we already mentioned with Someday on Renekton. Okay, yes, you dropped the first blood, but from there, not dropping a single objective, almost a 5K gold lead before 15 minutes. I mean, absolute dominance.
Yeah, I appreciate TSM Academy's aggression. You know, like this is what I think we want coming out of them. No one's expecting them to beat 100 Thieves. At least from level 1, they showed like, we're here to play. And they made their first punch. It connected. That's great. But you can kind of see the difference between an Academy team that's just coming together for the first time and this.
Yeah, and I mean, I think the path here is obvious, right? Like, you want to get that Vayne top ahead. I actually think what happened in the mid jungle is super important because TSM Academy was not able to, or they just neglected to go back to that top side, right? Which is where I think it would have behooved them to go. Yeah. I was also expecting to see, like, maybe it's because I've been watching too much LPL, but bot 2v2s, I really wanted to see it. And both these supports were actually out of lane quite a bit.
Yeah, but we still got to see, like, the benefit of who he being able to hit the thresh hook. They got first kill on towards the enemy bot lane, so that helped them a lot. But you're right. I think 250 in, when it was just basically Viego invaded, they didn't see him on the ward because he used red trinket, and I guess they were focused so much in the mid lane that they didn't actually catch him on that one. And so that was just a good 2v2 overall that resulted in a kill in LeBlanc. LeBlanc lost full waves and the snowball.
Yeah, I mean, given that they had 2 technically losing solo lanes for 100 Thieves, that they were more scaling oriented, you know, this is an incredible game that you're up like 4K at 15 minutes, whatever it was at. Like, they dominated this game. Sure, it took 10 minutes to turn online, but like we said, weaker lane matchups.
May have taken 10 minutes to turn online, but
10 minutes.
It didn't take them very long to close out. A 26-30 opening game again to the LCS. That is a blistering pace. I love the call out Raz on the goal graph, and again, kind of the proficiency that this team has in closing out a game with a victory. So very much looks like, you know, a lot of the faith we've put in 100 Thieves as a favorite, not only for this tournament, but for the LCS as a whole over this year, is already starting to trend in the right direction.
Exactly. Hey, they cared a lot about starting, getting on the ground running. Hey, they went to Korea as a team to be able to scrim and like basically practice as a team. They didn't get the full team there just, you know, as a squad. Of course, they faced usual visa difficulties like most people did, but like they cared a lot about getting off the ground on a good space, and they're doing that.
Yeah, and I think this is through the draft is definitely what we expected to see from them as well, right? Obviously, the Renekton is not always going to get through because you're not going to have someone playing Vayne top on the opposite side, but you know, this is, again, I think a really strong meta for them. Like, Abadaga can flex onto whatever they want. This game, in my opinion, was kind of made by Closer's Viego, by that invade, the fact that TSM weren't able to continue to go topside or attack the bot side. And then Yeah, I mean, the bot, like, what else can we say about 100 Thieves bot lane? Like, they're going to be insanely comfortable on, like, a Jinx Thresh.
They are just stellar. I am curious on the Abadaga point, though. Is he going to kind of follow a similar formula to what he had in summer last year, where he's like, I'm going to play the same champ every single game until you ban it?
Corky.
And then, right? Yeah, exactly. Is it going to be Corky for 3 games? And then it finally gets bans, and then he goes to LeBlanc, and then it gets banned, and then he goes...
It's Victor Corky every game. That's what we're seeing globally right now. Is a lot of Victor Corky.
So it's all about everywhere else on the map, right? Like, let the mid laners play
Maybe week 1.
Look elsewhere.
I have faith, though, that in lock-ins, we're trying things out, all right? We're trying different looks in the meta. He's not going to play only Corky throughout lock-in. I'm stamping it right now.
Cold take.
That's an interesting question, an interesting conversation, right? With 100 Thieves, which is a team that wants to make sure they start off with the lock-in victory, take home the trophy. But by the same token, if they wanted to push themselves a little bit and try new things, they might sacrifice a win here or there. So, like, what should the approach be for a team that is favored like 100 Thieves when coming into a tournament like
Well, even beyond champion picks, they have Tenacity and Kenvi, who, you know, we were prepping like they might play. So
right, they could bring them in.
I think they want to secure some wins to feel good, and then maybe we'll see a couple branching out, both in terms of champion pool meta questions as well as like roster, like, hey, how are they going to pair up against some of the other starting LCS lineups for their rookie players?
And I also think like some of the meta flexes that you might see from 100 Thieves down the line are not going to be out of these players' champion pools, right? Because we talk about, okay, what could they swap in this draft? Well, we already talked about Abadaga.
Yeah.
Someday can play different champions top side. They can do looks in the bot side like the Lucian Nami, the Lulu Jinx. I'm sure he will be willing to play Lux as well, which is something else we've been seeing, so.
Final thoughts here, Raz, before we go to break?
I think we'll see changes in the bot lane for 100 Thieves on different looks because Huhi loves enchanters. I'm sure we'll see it.
All righty, we're gonna go to our first break here, but on the other side, we've got Golden Guardians taking on Cloud9 in our first look at both of those squads. Don't go anywhere. We'll see you in a second.
What's going on?
Jake from State Farm, the perp just confessed. I think. I don't know.
What?
Oh, can't afford streaming anymore, so here we are.
Oh, don't give up what you love. State Farm has options to personalize your policy so you get a rate that fits your budget.
Oh, that's great. The subtitles would be nice.
For surprisingly great rates that fit any budget, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. Call or click to get a quote today.